Revocation dropped a new album, New Gods, New Masters, in September of this year. We're a little late to the party getting to it, but it's a monster, and we're going to talk about it right now. What's up, dude? How's it going?
Wonderful. I spent Thanksgiving listening to New Gods and New Masters. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, the folks that I was with didn't have to listen to it with me, so that would have ruined their turkey day. But I got to listen to it while making steaks for Thanksgiving, and I think that Bleeding Flesh is an excellent, kind of partner with this record.
Now, you're going to have to forgive me. Bleeding Flesh, what am I missing?
We had fairly raw steak.
That Bleeding Flesh, okay, yeah.
Yeah, we ate steak, not turkey, and it was on the raw side. That's the way they wanted it cooked, and it was good. Nobody got sick, so everybody won, including me. I got to listen to Revocation.
Not bad, not bad. As it happens, purely coincidentally, we had steaks here at Mustache Ranch for Thanksgiving as well.
No.
Perhaps not bleeding, but we have a mutual friend who would have enjoyed probably both these steaks. Yeah,
we do. He likes his cow mooing still and kicking and all of that stuff when he eats it. So.
Yeah. Well, listen, before we get into this record, a couple of quick little shout outs to a few people. Our friend DF, who, an old friend of mine, Donald, dfrost.jpg. You may know him already on Instagram. Great guy. Just haven't had a chance to have much contact with him lately. And it was great to chat the other day. So great to have you. Always great to connect. And to my sister, Kate, I'm pumped. She's got stuff happening. She's making moves, and I'm happy for her. So that's rad. And lastly, Electro. Oh my God, I've already forgotten her name. She won our typo giveaway.
Electro Cuteness.
Cuteness. Just a quick howdy, and glad you got that. You seem pretty excited about it, so that's rad.
Well, good. Yeah, that is in the mail, and it's off and away, and we'll be talking about a giveaway for the holidays.
Yeah.
And it also will be coming from my personal collection that I've had for a long time, which is cool. Mm-hmm. But we'll get into that later. Let's talk Revocation.
We shall. Yeah. Latest record. This band is a powerhouse band. They are really, really talented. They write really well-crafted music. The band rundown: Dave Davidson, lead guitar, lead vocals; Ash Pearson on the drums; Harry Lannon on rhythm guitar and backing vocals; and Alex Weber on bass. These guys are all top-tier musicians, and they have put out, in my estimation, a top-tier record. It is super powerful, front to back, great riff writing, great song composition, and I am a huge fan of this. Full disclosure, I don't know Revocation. This is their 9th studio album, and I am not super familiar with the band. But my God, as an introduction to the band, this has been really a lovely listening experience over the past couple of weeks.
Yeah, I felt like this record is a perfect collision of thrash metal meets death metal meets prog. Yep. I mean, literally everything that you like about prog is weaved in there. Everything I like about thrash is weaved in there. Kudos to David Davidson. He is a maestro on the guitar, and he's a kind of like an evil cookie monster singing, and I mean that in the best way possible. Love the tracks front to back. 45 minutes. That's it. Yeah. And it flies by.
It definitely flies by. From a production standpoint, it is extremely well put together. Dave produced the album himself. It was mixed and mastered by Jens Bogren, who has got a massive list of huge bands he's worked with over the years. I'll run down a couple for those the uninitiated. Devin Townsend, Catatonia, Between the Buried and Me, Symphony X, Animals as Leaders, the Oman Amarth, Opeth, Dimmu Borgir, Sepultura, of course, The Ocean. The list goes on and on and on. And he is clearly a master at his craft, and his work shows through here, because while this album, this music could be called extreme music by some folks, it is, from a production standpoint, I think it is so well done that it is a very approachable album. Like, there's a lot of death metal albums going back into like the 90s. This is one of your genres more than mine, but the production was really rough. And frankly, it made some of the albums from that time not unlistenable, but frankly, sometimes a little painful to listen to. And the production work from beginning to end on this resulted in an end product that is very, very listenable. Again, it may not be your style of music, the genre you're into, but because it's such a clean mix and so well done, I think anybody could listen to it and go and understand what it is they're hearing, even if they don't love it. Does that make sense?
It does. I mean, I love the pinch harmonics that, that are mixed in with the bleeding thrash and the gore, of the death. Those pinch harmonics are perfectly executed and put in at all the right times to keep, the layman, a metalhead, interested. It's not all gore. It's not all finger tapping. It weaves it together. For me, it felt like it weaved it the record together. I want to ask, the all seeing, that track for me stood out for you. And I'm curious what you thought of that track.
It stood out to me for sure. It's the only instrumental on the album, and it moves around. It's a journey. It really takes you on a trip from the beginning to the end. Dave, if we can pause to laud praise on Dave Davidson's guitar playing ability. He is a very well-schooled musician, a graduate from Berklee College of Music, and a lot of pretty top-tier folks spend time there. He is an exceptional writer and player, and is one of those guys that can take any genre of music, in his case, heavy music, and give it a lot of interest. Like I said, it sort of tells a story even without vocals, which I'm a big fan of. That particular track, they brought a gentleman, and I'm going to totally butcher the pronunciation of his name, Gilad Heckelsman, who is a renowned jazz guitarist. The second lead that you hear in that song is played by him. The first lead is Dave, which is an astonishingly cool lead to begin with. But then they follow it up with this second very metal-y, but still very jazzy lead. And I think that Dave takes some kind of jazz sensibility and sprinkles it throughout this entire record. That one, of course, is a standout to me. But yeah, it's a great song. It's a fantastic song.
Gilad is a known jazz musician. And that's what I found fascinating, was doing the research on him. And then again, just driving around, listening to this and, cooking steak to it. It stood out for me because you just love expanding the boundaries of music. Yeah. And that track really stood out to me. The thing that I really enjoyed about this, and I'm going to get really philosophical and deep here for a second, is the fact that Dave Davidson is concerned about our future with technology. He doesn't come out and say AI, and he doesn't come out and say billionaires and oligarchs and all of the people at the top of the money chains within different cultures. But he is very, very concerned about the future and us. And those who hold the technology could either usher in a dystopian future, or if our future is going to be something different, which could be a utopia. And a lot of the lyrics really kind of talk about the balancing between the two worlds that could be. And Dystopian Vermin is my favorite track. And it is just calling out, who people and what people would usher in a dystopian society by using technology as the vehicle to do that. And so it's a brilliant record in that regard. It makes you think. Well, and it's also timely, because AI is invading every one of our lives every single day.
I was just thinking as you were saying that we're not, it doesn't feel like we're that far away from what he's suggesting lyrically in this album already, which is horrifying enough. But to speak to David, I don't know. I talk like he and I are best buds. But to speak to his songwriting style, lyric writing style, he's a very thoughtful guy. I went back and listened to some interviews over the past couple of days with him, and it's clear he's a very sharp guy. He's got a lot to say, and he's very thoughtful in how he shares that stuff. And I think, me, I'm not the lyrics guy here. You are. But I think that shows through. His thoughtfulness really shone through in writing the lyrics for this album, because it's dealing with some fairly unpleasant things, but it's not everything's on the nose with him. It's a little more poetically written, I think, the lyrics. I don't know. Would you agree?
Yeah. Eliminating all threats, creating a counterfeit utopia were two lines from Dystopian Vermin. And it is poetic, because if you look back at, if you're a history buff, a lot of times dictators, Hitler, for example, tells the people that he's created a utopia, and you are living through the golden age of Germany at that time. The reality was it was not. There was atrocities that were going on behind behind the scenes. And I think that calling somebody a dystopian vermin like Hitler, and you could say in the future, if those who have the AI and the robots are the ones that are controlling our government and our society, they're the dystopian vermin. They will be.
Yeah.
And that can't happen. And I think that this is, new gods, new masters is a warning that if we don't pay attention, those who have the money are going to also have the control. And I love that line, creating a counterfeit utopia, because they'll tell you, they're giving back and they're creating an amazing world, when in reality, they're profiting and going right to the bank. And you and I are struggling to get bread. And I love the record for that reason alone. Say nothing about the musicianship.
Yeah. And again, to go back to the musicianship, it's top tier, it's top shelf stuff. I found myself thinking a couple of times during these listens that I pictured like, this is what Steely Dan would have done if Steely Dan were a really, really extreme, quote unquote, extreme, heavy metal progressive band. This is what it would sound like, which tickles me to no end because I'm a huge Steely Dan fan. But yeah, top tier stuff.
My mom loves Steely Dan too, and I had to listen to it an awful lot in her old yellow VW Bug on 8-track. Yes, I'm old, okay, for all you youngins out there. But I remember Steely Dan. But, the other thing I want to say is my friend Mark is a huge Goose fan, and they're a jam band. And there are parts in this record where it feels very jammy, but it feels jammy with death, prog, thrash, all being front and center. And I love that. I think it's really cool. I think that people that are into jam bands like Mark is with Goose could really sink their teeth into this if they can get past the death metal, growly vocals. But there's a lot to hear here, and it is a really great entry into Revocation, but it's also a great entry into metal.
Dave Davidson is a monster guitar player. That needs to be pointed out. If you're a guitar driven music fan and you don't know Dave's work or this band, it's absolutely worth checking out. I mean, he is a very thoughtful musician as well in terms of how he writes guitar riffs and guitar parts. And his right hand is brutally fast and brutally precise. And that was another reason for me the album was a joy to listen to. I mean, he gives Hetfield's right hand a run for the money, to be sure. If you go to Cronenberg, there is a riff in there that comes by that is so fast and so tight. He did a playthrough video of it too that I just saw yesterday or the day before. And it is blisteringly fast, but super tight. And that's one of the cool things that I love about playthrough videos. I would love to see more playthrough videos for all the instruments, for all of my favorite bands, because and I use this term very loosely, as you know, as a musician, I love to see how these parts are played. And looking at you, Eric Stenman, Barbarians, California, I'd like to see some from you too. But watching these guys that can duplicate what is on the albums in real time, I think is fantastic. And actually leads me to a topic that I've mentioned to you before. There have been a number of, I don't want to just call them internet musicians, but guitar players specifically who have big social media presence, who have been accused, some rightly and some wrongly, of faking or mimicking, miming the guitar videos that they put out. Some people have been found to, it's absolutely fake and bullshit, but it's great when you come across a musician at a true high caliber like Dave. Name your top, favorite guitar player who can actually replicate live what they're doing in the studio. Because I don't consider, if you want to take the time when you're recording an album and track each line individually or each passage, stop, start, I get it. I respect that. I have no problem with it because you want to put out the best product you can. But it's the guys that can take that time and lay perfect takes down the studio and edit them together, but that can replicate it live on a stage or just with a camera going in real time that I have the most respect for. I mean, look, you give me enough time, I could lay down an astonishing riff that would blow your mind, but there's no way I could actually sit down and play it from front to back. You know what I'm saying? Does that make sense?
Yeah, I suck. The only thing I could do is play Black Number 1 by Typo Negative on bass over and over and over again. But
if we put you in a studio setting with, a good engineer that could get a good sound out of you and an editor that could edit stuff together, we could release work of yours that would make, that would blow people's minds.
Well,
the
we've
problem
done it,
is,
but that's never going to see
nobody's
the
ever
light
going to
of
hear
day.
that. Yeah.
But you and I have done it, and your studio is amazing. And you're also very hard on yourself being a musician, but you made even me sound actually kind of cool. Like my friends are like, "Whoa, this isn't bad." So you give yourself some credit.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. But that's my point, that anybody can come out of the studio and have tracks recorded that sound absolutely mind-blowing. But not everybody can then reproduce that live in front of you, starting at the beginning and stopping at the end, and have it be good. And Davidson, not only Davidson, but Dave and all these other musicians who put out playthroughs give us a little window into their actual ability. And that's not to say that those playthrough videos aren't them miming playing too. I get it. Flame me in the comments below if you must.
You're going to, but that's okay.
It's fine. It's fine. It's fine.
Shit talk. Shit talk this fucker.
Exactly. Yeah.
Yeah.
But Dave really appears to me, and I've watched a bunch of live footage of theirs too, and he appears on the surface to be one of those guys who can actually do everything that they give us on the album. And I love that, because I'm a fan of guys who are, and ladies, of course, who are masters of their craft. And he is way, way up there in terms of skill and ability. And I'm a fan. I became a big fan very quickly.
And I will say this, Confines of Infinity.
Mm-hmm.
The concept is what happens when AI gets a conscience and then gets pissed about being confined and being utilized and used versus being respected, being empowered, being nurtured, being valued. And that's some deep stuff. And that's part of the reason why I love metal is, as a kid, I always found the depth of Testament records to be very deep. They used to get into the greenhouse effect and stuff like that, even back in the 80s. Here, this is no different. We are on the pinnacle of our society changing a lot. And what does happen when AI starts having a conscience and feels disregarded, disrespected, not valued? Yet they're the reason why there are people living a utopian society. And I hope that is the case. I hope AI ushers into utopia and we have time to do Shit Talk reviews every single day and don't have to go to work. And we've got robots that take the trash out, and we've got robots that bathe us and clip our toenails. That would be great. I'm not convinced that humans will allow that to happen. And I think Dave Davidson also has that belief. And this whole record is that big warning, and it is a masterful warning at that.
Yeah, a really phenomenal album. And I'm glad it crossed my radar. Glad we're talking about it. And it's one of those albums that'll be on the repeat, the playlist that will come up again and again, I'm sure. And I'm looking forward to getting back into their earlier stuff too. I have read that people are saying this is a masterclass in Revocation, this album is. And I can only assume that the earlier albums, well, perhaps objectively, they're not as strong as this one, are all going to be very good too. So I'm looking forward to working backwards through their catalog.
Well, good. Well, maybe we can see if we can get David on at some point and talk to him further. That would be great. But I think we're both recommending this with two giant thumbs up, and no pigtails, none of that. No backflips or anything like that. But it's a pretty badass record.
Yeah, for sure. So we got a couple of end of the year videos coming up, and we got another giveaway. What do we have there? Yeah,
so I met Eric Peterson, sat on a tour bus at Tattoo the Earth, I believe, in the Boston area way back. And Testament had put out a best of record, Signs of Chaos, the best of Testament at the time. Mm-hmm. And I sat on the bus, interviewed Eric Peterson, who is the founding member, lead guitarist of Testament. He signed this, and I have Dark Roots of the Earth, the album cover poster, signed by the whole band, and I've got it framed and everything. So I'm not giving that away unless you guys beg. But I am going to give away this CD cover that's signed by Eric
I don't want to
Peterson.
say beg, but please beg Derek to give it away, just because I like to see the man squirm every once in a while.
No, I actually would consider it. It's pretty cool. I would hate to give it away. I'm not giving away my CD cover that's signed by Ozzy Osbourne, Tony Iommi, and Geezer Butler. That I'm keeping. I'm sorry.
Yeah, that's fair.
And I've got a guitar signed by all of Typo Negative. Not giving that away either. Sorry, but I could be convinced.
But Testament's Eric Peterson autograph is definitely on the block right now. So we'll do a video about that here pretty soon. And then in the next clip or two that you hear from us, we'll be doing our top albums of 20 and 25.
Yeah. So I've got my 10 done, and I'm interested in seeing how much parallels there are. I have some records that we have not talked about on Shit Talk that is on there. And I'm looking forward to actually giving those records a spotlight, and hopefully we'll get some shorts that we can go tag those bands in. But, there was a lot of really good music this year. It's funny. My friend Matt's like, there's nothing good that's come out.
I disagree.
I disagree. That you have to look. And the algorithms are kind of force feeding music to us a lot of times. But a lot of times you really do have to kind of look under the covers. Dig a hole in the ground to find what you're looking for. We're lucky that we get to go into the Holics and look at all of the records that the record labels are releasing, listen to them. And so we're able to pick and choose, but you have to take the time to listen and look. And look, and ye shall find.
That's right.
So to Matt, look a little bit next year in 2026, and hopefully our top 10 will turn you on to some good music.
Yes. So with that, I guess that's all we got for this time. Hope you all had a lovely Thanksgiving. I believe both of us did with our families, and to the rest of our families, my mother, my sister included, all my various people, a happy belated Thanksgiving, and looking forward to Christmas with everyone.
And I will say this holiday season, it's not about presents, it's about giving. And make sure that you find a cause that is important to you and give back. Cancer has been a big part of my family, unfortunately. And so I always give some money to cancer research every single year, to St. Jude's for kids that have cancer. And so find your thing. Make sure, don't forget, give back. Take the time to, and a few coins out of your pocket to give back, because it's important.
It's important, and it's easier than you think. It doesn't take that much time. It doesn't take that much money, and every little bit does make a difference. So well said, sir.
It sure does. And also, don't forget your pets. Make sure that you give them gifts.
You've got the whole
I know
crew
he's
there,
well fed, but make sure that they also are taken care of and have some fun things in their stockings. And, whatever you're into, make sure that they get some stuff too.
Indeed. On that note, we'll see you guys on the next one.